Hello, I am Specialist Compton. Happy New Year's, everybody. It's been a long night. I wasn't really looking forward to this. I'm not a very extroverted public speaker type of guy, but let's jump right into it. I got a little PowerPoint presentation. We're gonna go right down the line here. Okay. This is my mission statement, and this is what this is, and simply what this is not about. And coming soon, my third video after this is going to be an interview with my best friend that I grew up with, went in the military together. He went in as a captain, and I enlisted, but he went into ROTC while I was enlisting. So we both got out and went into pharmacology. I dipped out after an associate's in pharma, and have been working toward a physician assistant degree. I was on the wrong side of the pad, I guess. Pharmacology, just filling pills all day, just ain't that interesting. We'll put it that, but we're gonna get that pharmacy manager, not just a pharmacist. He's a PharmD, and he's also the manager of his Walmart, manager of his pharmacy in the Walmart, I should say. So, yeah, he's gonna tell you all about what medications I have and why they aren't contraindicated. Okay. The biggest thing to really note, and I can't stress this enough, I really can't stress this enough. Please watch my first video, First Blood. That represents the head of the VA Department of Psychology and Psychiatry where I live, Dr. Cherion, and his little henchman. I think the intake lady, she must have been a psychologist or a social worker or something. To be honest, she's not very good at doing either, because if you watch that video, it's about 13 minutes worth of this unethical duo. Just it's really horrible. I've been seeing my civilian psychiatrist for 5-6 years now, and they sat there and told me that he isn't offering me the standard of care that's sufficient. Um, his treatment plan, I mean, this is not me picking and choosing. My psychiatrist, longtime psychiatrist, treatment plan to Dr. Cherion and Babuska is wishful, or what do they say? They said it's my opinions and my wants and my selected treatments. Dr. Cherion all but giggled when he said he signed the paperwork to get me outsourced care through my civilian providers, but he all but snickered when he said, "But it's a long shot, just to let you know. It's a long shot, and I know the guy." Like, yeah, okay, Dr. Cherion, why don't you go sit down to lunch with this gentleman and just tell him to shoot me down like I know you're going to. Then you got Babuska, the old lady on there. I honestly don't know her name, or I'd use it. Believe you me. And I'm sure it's going to be easy to find, you know. But toward the end of the video, I was trying to, use my poor best language to articulate how I was feeling. And I mentioned to her that, I've been depressed enough lately and been going through PTSD about every 4 to 6 weeks. I get so depressed for a week that I just can barely crawl out of bed. And I was telling her how I had to move all my firearms to a third party, a competent third party, a reliable third party, and that's about 2 hours away for me. And I also had to mention to her that I moved my firearms, and that, when I get depressed enough, a knife can open up your neck just as easy. And her reply, and I shit you not, I cannot stress this part enough, I really can't, is it is truly devoid of honor, integrity, and the VA standard of care. This lady told me, when I told her how I felt and how depressed I was, she told me, that ain't going to get you very far, that attitude. And then she invoked a flag. I have behavioral flags in my profile at the VA over the past 13 years because they have a penchant for talking down their nose at people. They patronize you, they talk down to you, they talk to you like you're a child, and they treat all the vets as if we're just invalids. And this ain't to say all providers. I've had no problem with any of other the other VA disciplines that I've went to. The dental's great. I just got through seeing the dentist for 3 days in a row. Yeah, it was real fun. Um, but yes, I've seen the dentist. I've seen my, VA primary care doctor. I'm seeing the VA sleep department here in a couple days. I got a sleep study. I'm finally getting work on to why I'm so tired all the time. And maybe if I'm lucky, they'll swap out my recalled sleep apnea machine for, well, one that ain't growing fungus or black mold or whatever. I heard black something when I scanned the article, so I'm assuming mold, and that's deadly. So rats on not getting that. But yes, first of all, I mean, Dr. Cherion and his lady that was there, for just sake of a better phrase, I'm just gonna call her Babuska. Babuska. Yeah, Babuska. Yeah, but Dr. Cherion and Babuska are unprofessionally disrespectful to their peers. I mean, the whole first video was absolutely disrespectful to my psychiatrist. Absolutely. Who is their peer. I mean, it's kind of unprofessional to lambaste your peers to a patient, you know. And my psychiatrist, he's known me and my situation and my chronology of care and where I've fallen to. He knows it. He knows it all. Absolutely every possible word and thought he knows. And they just throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, here's a psychiatrist that knows me and he's prescribing a tailored treatment plan to my specific needs. And you got Dr. Cherion and Babuska sitting there saying it's my opinion, which it's not. It's the treatment plan of my psychiatrist. My opinion, my wants. No, I don't necessarily want to start on ketamine and have to get blood infusion with an IV in my arm for 2 hours a day for every other day for like 1 or 2 weeks. And then it goes a couple times a week. Then it goes every couple weeks. Then it goes once a month. This is 2 hours a stab. And I mean, it don't really matter because I can't afford it unless I figure out how to get the VA to do it. But yeah, they tried to spin my psychiatric treatment plan by Dr. Zier, my physician, that I've been going to like 5 or 6 years, as if they were my opinions. I mean, does this even work in reality? I mean, what kind of spin is that? And, it's just disrespectful. They're very snide about putting in the paperwork for my outside care, is what it is called. Care that would allow me to see my longtime psychiatrist, which I'm 100% service connected for, with chronic PTSD alone, not to mention my injuries. Sharon intimates that he knows the guy that takes care of the outside care paperwork and that he really doubts that it will go through, i.e., he has as much as said he would sabotage my paperwork for that. Dr. Cherion, as much as, I'll say it again, Dr. Cherion, as much as, sabotage my outside care packet, with a snide little remark he made. It's like, oh, I know the guy. Like, okay, well, next time you go have lunch with him, why don't you just tell him to shred my packet like I know you're going to? It's unfortunate. It is. Okay. All right. What this is about. Okay, number one, what this is about. This is my little PowerPoint I made, and I'm gonna just kind of go down by it, and I'm gonna extrapolate a little bit from what I'm saying here. Okay, my VA profile flags. Okay, flags are what the VA uses as behavioral markers. So if they treated you over the course of 13 years, which it is for me, if there was enough providers, which in my case there was, that were obnoxious or just outright rude or talk down to you or treat you like an infantile 2-year-old, they use these flags, as you seen in the first video, to shut me down. As soon as I started telling that psychiatrist Babuska how I felt, she almost to defy my belief, she watch the video. She said that self-destructive behavior ain't gonna get me nowhere, and she was more meaning as to what I had said specifically. She's like, oh well, that ain't gonna get you nowhere, and as soon as you defend yourself or get snarky back with these people, they will throw that flag on you and they will cut your appointment off. And that's pretty much kind of what she did. In fact, that's exactly what she did, you know. And oh, so rude. Okay, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, the last time I saw the Heinz Neurology, there was one woman. She was working with the co-managed care, which means she's working with the outside doctor, civilian doctor, and she was taking my referrals and basically just following what my doctor said. But she's really rude about it, really rude. She was like, oh, your back ain't going to change, it ain't going to change, but I get a pain intervention medicine, which is a needle that goes in between my C4 and my C5 vertebrae, cervical vertebrae, and it heats up and it severs the nerve that's wedged between there that causes me unimaginable back pain and neck pain and migraines when the ablation wears off every 5-6 months. It's about twice a year procedure. But yeah, I was trying to get an MRI because I got to get about 2 a year for that doctor. She's like, well, it's not going to change. And I was like, well, yeah, I got an A in anatomy and physiology, 1 and 2, I ain't a dum-dum. I understand the process of bone remodeling, which is the force that, pretty much you break a bone, your bones are a mineral bank, and minerals come out of your bones, and bone remodeling. Well, yeah. Minerals come out and solidify where they need to. That's bone remodeling. And she had a student resident there, and this kid, and that's all he was just some curly haired punk kid, but I remember he was like, what's wrong with you? And she left the room. He was like, what's wrong with you? And I started telling him. He's like, no, tell me what's wrong with you. And I started telling him, I was like, okay, if you don't want to hear about my neck injury, I'll tell him about my back injury. He's like, no, tell me what's wrong. And he interrupted me about 4 or 5 times in the span of about a minute. And finally, I just had enough, He's being rude. He's being an asshole is what he's being. He's being rude. And I just looked at him. I was like, boy, you interrupt me one more time. And he scurried out of the room. And she came back and she's like, well, I'm going to give you an MRI. I'll put it in, but just to let you know, nothing's going to have changed. I was like, yeah, I know, but you saved me a 3-month scheduling when he wants it done next time. So we got that taken care of. And then what else? That was just the most recent I had besides talking to her. But yeah, it's kind of snarky in how it kind of treats you. Co-managed care, okay? This is really important. This is a very central, important idea as to what this is all about. This is definitely, get this all. Don't move. There we go. Co-managed care. I'm going to highlight that. Make it bold, make it italics, make it underlined. Everything I can do, I'm going to do that. Okay, so co-managed care. What co-managed care is let me switch back to video capture device. Okay, there we go. What co-managed care is? Co-managed care is simply this. I have a civilian primary care doctor, a civilian pain management doctor, I got a civilian psychiatrist, and ideally in the VA, I would have counterparts. Since I'm 100% service connected for injuries and PTSD, what this means is that their counterparts in the VA, under ideal circumstances, would follow their lead, basically. So what would happen is, as long as there wasn't nothing, completely unethical or ridiculous, the VA doctors would take the referrals and the prescriptions from my civilian doctors, and if it was on the formulary, they'd fill it. If it's not on the formulary, which is a list of drugs the VA hospital has, and that's the same with anything. Your Blue Cross has a formulary, Blue Cross and Blue Shield formulary, all the different, I can't remember all the different Aetna, all the different insurances have a formulary. But I digress. Co-managed care is these VA doctors would take a lead from my civilian doctors, and they would kind of put their heads together, and they would be both aimed at my best care. The only VA department in the whole VA system so far that I've noticed that does not play well with others, the psychiatry department, particularly at my VA. I don't know what the problem is, but if you have, God forbid, you have another psychiatrist like me, I got my private psychiatrist, and I've been seeing him for a long time. I trust him. I can talk to him about my PTSD issues. He's built that trust and has that right. So that being said, like I said a few minutes ago, Dr. Cherion and Babuska just sat there and railed on me for 13 minutes about how my psychiatrist's treatment plan was no more than my wants and opinions and preferred treatments. No, it's the treatment plan that my psychiatrist put out that's tailored to me. It's like these ketamine shots. He wouldn't ever. Oh, and this is the kicker: the VA offers ketamine infusions, but they won't even co-manage me that because of my medical cannabis. But we'll get to that. So yeah, my psychiatrist would not have even just said, "Hey, ketamine guy." No. We've been working for years. I've cycled through all the SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and the SSNRIs. Same thing, add an norepinephrine in there for the N. And it's come to this. I have, like I said, I have every 4 to 6, maybe 8, usually every 4 to 6 weeks, I have about a week where I'm just so depressed that I really climb out of bed, I cry a lot, and just no fun for me or my family or no one. Why are you crying, Daddy? Well, Aria or William? No, that's not fun. Nobody should have to do that. Okay, let's see. A couple procedures. Yeah, it's basically what I'm advocating here is I've been neglected by the VA psych department for a long time now, and the VA in general, but the psych department really hones in on it. They collect the king share of this freaking fuckery. Let's see, neglect passport. For example, neglect. I had wait almost a year to get this sleep study appointment, mainly because every time I called VA for my hospital that's near me, the problem that I was having was they're so damn dysfunctional, the VA in general, left hand never talking to the right hand. So, yeah, their switchboard has multiple numbers for the sleep clinic. However, none of them work. They're all either A, disconnected, 2, non-working, or 3, goes to some lady's personal mailbox in the VA. And like, no. Yeah. And this is a year waiting when I just got through telling you guys that I go through about a week every 4 to 8 weeks. I spend a week in bed, and then I'm fatigued even on the days that ain't the case. A lot of energy lost. Actually, my pain doctor did a hormone panel and found that I was low in the hormone cortisol. So I'm a little higher cortisone, and it's helping. My hormone levels getting back up and keeps me awake a little bit during the day, but it's not a by no means a final treatment. I should have already had this figured out with the sleep clinic, but between Doctor whatever his name was that never followed up with me and the fact that I couldn't reach him to schedule a follow up, yeah, it's garbage, man. It's absolute garbage. So, yeah. Next slide. Moving right along here, okay. 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 This what this is definitely not about. Definitely about. Okay. This definitely is not about my treatments of opinion and or choice. Because it's my opinion and choice that says that, given a better option, I wouldn't be trying to get the VA to cover these ketamine infusions, blood infusions. They basically, I'll tell you what it is. I told you it's something they spike and put in your arm. That's basically what it is. They spike a bag of saline, stick in your arm, and they piggyback it with a microdose of the anesthetic ketamine. Okay. And over the course of about 20 minutes, unless they really open the bore on you and use a big needle and just your veins suck it in like a couple minutes. Short of that, it's about a 20-minute procedure, and you got to sit there and wait for the after effects because it is a anesthetic used in surgery to make you unconscious while they operate on you. So it is an anesthetic, and it's also a hallucinogen. And I've read some things about that aren't too particularly pleasant. People either really respond good to this or respond awful, but I'm willing to try it. So that's what that is. The glove is particularly disgusting because had he done his job, had Dr. Cherion done his freaking job, he would have looked into at least the drug management system in the state of Illinois, Wisconsin. No, I don't think Wisconsin's hooked up. It's Illinois, Indiana, like Iowa, Tennessee, Kentucky. Like usually neighboring states, they share a monitoring system. What that is every controlled substance you have is on there. And Dr. Cherion could have looked at that and noticed that my clonazepam and Ambien have all dramatically went down. My intake has went down by as much as 2/3 due to the medical cannabis, which is the biggest reason why I think they just fluffed my boat, floated my boat the whole time I was talking to them was the medical cannabis. And I mean, clonazepam is found now to cause cognition issues. I've been taking that for 13 years. I mean, it is a benzodiazepine sedative, and a little bit of how it works is just kind of, slows down the synaptic exchange of energy and acetylcholine that fires off action potentials and just kind of slows down your thoughts, slows down your anxiety, slows down the neurons from firing so freaking rapidly fast as you're having a panic attack. And that being said, those are the same kind of areas that they're finding out that harms you. So, clonazepam. Am I trying to keep my clonazepam? No, that's Dr. Cherion, you fool. That is not what this is about. That's the only negative thing he could say, was that I shouldn't be taking the stimulant I'm taking for my ADHD along with the Klonopin. And he's right to a degree. If I were a severely compromised, unhealthy individual, then, you know, might not be the right thing. But once again, my psychiatrist has known me and my personal specific issues for the last 5-6 years. He's the one that's going to make that call, not Dr. Cherion, who just cracked open my file and saw that I had a flag on there and thought, hey, Babuska, let's give it to this vet. Let's just give it to him hard. Come on, Babuska. You know, it's garbage, you know. My opinion is I have both the Army Medical Board of Evaluations finding and a 6-year, extremely well-documented chronology of care with my civilian psychiatrist, along with an interview with a pharmacy manager and captain in the Army. The pharmacy manager I'm going to interview is not only my best friend that I grew up with, but he's also was a captain in the Army. He is a pharmacy manager now, and he's a doctor of pharmacy medicine, you know. So he's gonna know, And on the docket still, this is what's coming in the future. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back. No, it's not it. There we go. Okay. One of the next episodes I'm doing is an interview with a Walmart pharmaceutical doctor of pharmacy and a pharmacy manager about my RX profile, i.e., is anything I take counterindicated for the ketamine treatments, which is the only thing I asked the VA to do. And that's what really burns my ass, too. It's not like I asked them to do all this care and to really, you know, didn't ask them to do all this stuff. I simply want them to pay for my Fetsema, which is the only medication that's helped me with my PTSD, my depression. And I've tried everything as far back as amitriptyline, which is antipsychotic from like the 60s or something like that, if not older. But I've tried everything from there up to current, and the response I got from Cherion is like he was almost giddy as he was telling me. He's like, ooh, we don't have it. I was like, okay, guy. All right, my man. Let's just move it along. And then we brought up the ketamine, and the ketamine apparently is just my opinion that I need it, and it's just a want. I don't know. If we can bring this together, I'm gonna ask him how it feels to want to when he's booted his ass out of the frickin'. They boot his ass when Human Resources boots his ass out of the Department of Psychiatry chair. And okay, interview with Walmart PharmD, Wounded Warrior Program. I'm gonna go over my experience at the Wounded Warrior Program. I'm waiting on my Army records to come. It's pretty dog eat dog, man. I had a horrible time there. It's just suffering, so much suffering for so long. I mean, all they had to do is just medboard us out, but most of us were there for. I had to re-enlist. Okay, I had to re-enlist and extend my contract to go to the Wounded Warrior Program and finish the medical evaluation board process. Okay, so yeah, I was there for about a year and a half, and I barely recall all that much. I recall a little bit of the medications I was taking, which, oh my God, let me tell you, had me walking around like a zombie. And I'll get into that. I'll tell my deployment was like when I got back. because I don't feel like talking about the rest. But yeah, so what my redeployment was like when I got back, and things I went through with my unit before I left to the Wounded Warrior program. My congressional that I put forth was Senator Dick Durbin and Senator Barack Obama, who changed the sergeant major's policy. My battalion sergeant major was a good man. Sergeant Major Allard was his name, and for the most part, I liked him a lot. I really did. But he was doing some things that were less than the full bill of integrity. Doing the right thing even when no one's looking. Because when Senator Barack Obama was looking, he said, "Hey, no, you can't do that. You're ate up as a chicken wire canoe, son." And he changed it. He got us all sent to the Warrior program instead of going down to Fort Polk for a month to answer phones while everybody else trained. Yeah, let's have the Broken Joes put their whole medboard process on hold while we go drive all the way to Fort Polk, Louisiana, and that is on budget charter buses, and we're already injured, mind you. And last time I went, it was on charter buses. Our armor and our gear got set all in the aisle, and there wasn't a square inch to be had. We're elbow to elbow, and the center aisle was, if you were standing up, is about waist high with our body armor and our weapons and our other gear, our rucksacks and all this other gear. It's just a miserable 13-hour, more than 13 hours. It was like 13 hours, and we got out, and then we got back in and drove some more. Yeah, and then the final thing I'm looking into, this is important to me, and I think it's an important precedent for any returning veteran. The Montgomery GI Bill. I'm going to highlight this because this is important. Okay, Montgomery GI Bill. Why can't I have it? Okay, the stipulation for how this works as of 2003 when I enlisted is there's a box on it. You had to check it on your contract, check the box that you wanted to opt in, and then you paid $50 out of your bi-monthly pay. In my case, when I was a PV2 coming in the Army, I made $400 every 2 weeks. And out of that, I had to put tobacco in my pocket, I had to put gas in my car, I had to insure that car, I had to pay for the car. Yeah, my first year when I had to pay for that was some pretty frugal living. I was eating at the DFAC, the dining facility for the battalion, and not going out much. No movies, no restaurant food, no nothing for about a year. And that's what is insult to injury right there, Because I had to live like a damn miser when that extra $100, the extra $50 a pack, that extra $50, which could be a full tank, it could be a meal out, it could be a couple movies, it could be a combination thereof. I could have lived a lot better the first year I was in the Army. That's what pisses me off about that. But my PA degree is gonna cost a little bit. I'm financing my education myself, and it's not been easy or right because, I paid into my GI Bill, so why? Right now, I'm trying to go on my pay and see how far back it goes. I mean, hell, even if I spent $5,000 on a lawyer to fight him for my GI Bill, had I $5,000 to fight, well, I mean, even that would be worth it because then I'd end up with my GI Bill and then the $60,000 worth of education or so. I mean, education is expensive, man. And my master's for the PAs, when I think about it, it's pretty expensive. Okay. And that, my friends, is all I really got for you right now. When I get my records, I will do another one when I get my buddy to do an interview with me. We'll do another one, and just for the love of God, man, any support, any support. I'm taking anything, man. Anybody that's viewing this, look at the first video. Well, look at the first video. This is technically the second. And if you can just get that sense that they're having a little too much fun hemming me up, I don't even know what to say. It's just, it defies reality, really. I mean, they're supposed to be the final line that helps vets, you know. I mean, the VA psychiatry is the final line for a lot of vets. I'm privileged that my wife has private insurance. She's a school teacher. So I get on my wife's insurance just like my kids. So that is the only silver lining, but they will not cover this. And for the future and ongoing outward, I just want to help me get Dr. Cherion out of the Heinz VA frickin' Department of Psychiatry. If he does this to even one or two more vets, then it's just a travesty. It's tragic. And that's all I got. You know, I am Specialist Compton. Specialist Compton.